video game that this?
Well, yeah, there was another video game that released in the 90s. It was called, I believe it was called WWF Wrestlemania Challenge.
Oh, wasn't that an arcade game?
No.
No?
WrestleMania Challenge was a Nintendo Entertainment System game.
Ooh. I think I remember that.
Plays similar to the first game, WWF WrestleMania, with the difference being the view of the ring is more. How do you want to describe it? It's not straight on. It's not flat on. It's more like a diamond.
Diamond?
Yes, looks more like a diamond when you're looking at it. This time, instead of 6, which I believe you could play in the last game, this game features 9 wrestlers now, so they've added a couple wrestlers. Now you can play as Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Macho King Randy Savage, The Ultimate Warrior, Big Boss Man, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Ravishing Rick Rude, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you can even play as a character called Yourself.
Okay.
Which is just a generic character that you can play as. But the game...
Curious what his moveset is.
Yeah, the game kind of plays very similar to the first game. Keep in mind, we're still in the Nintendo. So punch kicks. But I did notice that the game has a little bit extra moves you could do. You could do drop kicks and jump off the top rope, and there was a few things that were noticeably added. Not a lot, but just a few things added.
I went on YouTube after our episode and I watched some gameplay footage of that game that you mentioned last podcast.
Yeah.
And I remember it. It was rough. The one thing I will say is I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the little 8-bit version of I am a real American.
Well, and
there was no lyrics.
Well, and that's the kind of cool thing about this game, too, is as you are wrestling, when you go through the challenge mode and you're wrestling each individual wrestler, you hear that 8-bit version of their music.
Yeah.
And you've got the
That's
Ultimate
how it
Warrior
was in the last game, too.
So you get to hear that music throughout the whole match. Now, this match also added tag team matches, 3-on-3 matches, and or maybe that's it. Just tag matches and 3-on-3 Survivor Series elimination matches.
Ooh.
So this game actually originally was supposed to be called WWF Survivor Series because it was supposed to be their version of Survivor Series wrestling game, but for whatever reason, and I'm not 100% sure the reason, because it even came out in November, they changed the name to WrestleMania Challenge. Maybe they just thought the WrestleMania brand was bigger and would sell more copies. I don't have a real explanation on why, but it does tell me that it was originally supposed to be called WWF Survivor Series, but then they changed the name. So I don't have an explanation on why they changed the name, but maybe marketing. WrestleMania was pretty big at this time. At this point in November 90, you would have had 6 WrestleManias, and the last one being Ultimate Warrior. So it was a huge WrestleMania.
Yeah,
so maybe they just marketing reasons. So, but anyhow, if you play through all the characters in the one-player challenge mode, at the end you are declared the champion, and that's you don't get to see yourself holding a belt or nothing, but it just says you are now WWF champion. So,
the old text, you win.
So you win. You're
this
champion.
is what you fought for.
Yeah.
Just these letters.
Yeah. So, and you just go through.
Words.
You go through each individual person. You can definitely tell it was built to be a Survivor Series game because after you beat each opponent, it says Big Boss Man has been eliminated. It doesn't say you defeated Big Boss Man. It says has been eliminated. So the whole game was set up to be Survivor Series with eliminations and
I'll
everything.
probably watch this as well.
Yeah, you can definitely watch these videos on YouTube. Once again, we wish we could play these games. I've been watching these games on YouTube, remembering them, because we did play these games. We're talking 30 years ago.
Now, when I get caught up on these, on my YouTube page, I believe I'm still on. I think I just did WrestleMania 3 or 4 last time. So I'm still really behind on the Rage and Blaze show on the YouTube. I was planning on at least putting pictures of the game, maybe debating on putting on videos on our podcast so the viewers on YouTube can see what these games were like.
Yeah, so these games are definitely gems. They're just not, they're kind of hard to go back and replay in the year 2020. I mean, 2020 has been rough enough.
Yeah.
So you don't want to add to the intense frustration on trying to play these 8-bit games.
Right.
And wonder why you can't do even a fraction of what you can do in today's game, you know.
Now, I'm sure our opinion will change, but at least after watching WrestleMania, the game, it's probably better if you just look at it and let go. It didn't look like
just remember it was a childhood memory and leave it at that.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's our time for our little video game recap, you know, just kind of going through the history of the wrestling video games. If we find some more in the 90s, we'll definitely share on the next episode. But
specifically 1990.
No, that's what, yeah. So we'll definitely continue to grow and talk about these games. I know once we start getting into the Nintendo 64, even the Super Nintendo games.
No,
they have some replay.
No,
those are some fun. I mean, 64's got one of the best wrestling games ever.
I went down a rabbit hole when I was going to find that WWF WrestleMania game, and there is one game. I don't know if you want me to bring it up here, but there was one game that I definitely remember loving as a kid, and I can see that still being fun.
And that game is, we're not going to talk elaborate
WWF Royal Rumble.
Was it on Dreamcast?
No, I think it was on Super Nintendo.
Because there was two. There was one on Dreamcast.
Well, the Super Nintendo one's the one I'm talking about. And I remember playing that a lot. You had to... they had the Royal Rumble mode. Mind you, I think they could only have like 6 people in the ring at one time. So there was a cap on how many people could go. But I remember it being very fun. And when I watched it, it was very fun. I remember it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. If anybody from the WWF/WWE or anybody from Nintendo of America is listening to this podcast, I know Nintendo has a virtual console. They currently have Nintendo and Super Nintendo on there. We beg of you, please give us some wrestling video games. Get the licensing thing worked out. I'd love to play some old wrestling games. And please give us a Nintendo 64 virtual console. I would love to revisit WWF No Mercy or even WCW NWO Revenge World Tour.
You really think that if they do a virtual console, you're going to get that game?
I'm asking. I am pleading with the audience.
If they're going to do it,
if you have any connection.
WCW versus NWO, the first one.
Oh yeah, the WCW NWO. That was a great game. But then WWF had their own, you know, WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy. And they were amazing. They were amazing. But I'm telling you, we would love to see these games on Nintendo Switch, Virtual Console. I think give them to us, or even if they could put these games on Xbox.
If I'm not mistaken,
on the arcade.
Yeah,
I mean something. We would love to revisit some of these old wrestling games. I know there's a licensing issue, but come on, throw some money at it and get it done.
Yeah, I think WCW versus NWO, that game is what really brought me my love for creating wrestlers, creating characters. I remember creating all kinds of wrestlers on that game.
I remember. I feel like
the other ones.
I feel like wrestling games was almost always the measuring stick of when a new console came out. The first thing I cared about when a new console came out was, what does the wrestling game look like?
That could be just us.
It could be. But
I think most people
keep in mind,
sports games in general, like football,
okay, so we're
basketball.
We're huge football fans, but they're always wearing a helmet and they're wearing pads.
Yeah.
So when you got a game like wrestling or NBA, you got to see faces. You got to see full bodies. That, to me, was the measuring stick of what a new console looked like.
You know,
was when these games came out. And it was like, look at them graphics.
You know, you bringing this up is really kind of itching. I almost kind of feel like I have a Twitch stream as well. I almost feel like we need to play some WWE 2K19 and Twitch that.
Maybe sometime we will.
I believe that's on Game Pass.
Is it?
I think so.
2K19's on Game Pass? I'll be done.
If you have it, I say Rage and Blaze has a match. An epic match.
So you want whooped, is what you're saying.
Negative.
Well, I'm looking at the time we've spent at the opening, and we've got a show to do. It's time to get to Royal Rumble 1990. Let's get to this going.